Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our Peace How to Manage When We Don't Have It workshop. This is a workshop. We're calling it a circle of trust so we can keep our hearts steadfast and firm when we are faced with stormy times. So hopefully you all received a little reminder about what we're going to be doing today. What does it mean to connect with each other? Breathing, reflection, clarity, noticing things. Harvard says that the number one skill that we need today is the power of observation. So we'll talk a little bit about how to observe our emotions and then elevating so that we can become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I know that the folks that have signed up, thank you all for registering. That was very kind of you. We are here today from 7 different countries, alhamdulillah, and a few others who have requested their recording. So Khadija has been kind enough to put in some intro points in the chat. And whenever you do sign on, you're able to scroll up and see all the chat comments. So Khadija's comments are in there. And also we have... we will be uploading a PDF. It is your workbook. We're uploading it into the Zoom chat. It's just taking a moment because we have to do it through the Google Drive. But as soon as that's up, we'll send a note in and give you a signal to download that. And you can have that open on another device and jot down a few things as they stand out to you. So we did have a few verbal introductions before the recording began. And the rest of you, if you are comfortable, just jotting it down in the chat. We would love to know where you're from and a little bit about you. My name is Naveen, and my sister gave me this idea of putting everything, a few things on where I've lived and what I've done. So I grew up in Malawi, which is in Southern Africa. You see that on the map. I was educated in Saudi Arabia, in the US, close to Boston. I worked in Manhattan and Chicago, then in Calgary, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, then back in Calgary. I'm originally from Pakistan, and I, throughout the last many years, I've lived in 7 countries and worked in 17 countries. My day job is to work with this company called BSG that my sister founded. And we have, alhamdulillah, worked with a lot of schools and universities and companies and nonprofit, United Nations, around leadership development, youth development, women, and giving back to the community. These are some of the schools and universities that we have worked with in different countries. So we're very grateful to have you here. These are some of the leaders of our organization, and we're very happy that you are here to spend the time of this workshop with us. So as you saw in the original invitation, we have 5 segments, inshallah, that we'll be going through. The first one is knowing it, the recognizing the times around us and how we respond to that. So in some places, it could be geopolitical stresses. In others, it could be our family or something happening at our schools or universities. So really learning, again, to observe and know it. The second is recognize our shifts, our energy, how we're thinking, how we're responding. The third is practicing it. And the fourth is elevating it. And the fifth is sustaining it, leaving with a personal steadiness plan. Okay. So that's our outline for today. And at any time, this is an open space. At any time, because we're not in one room together, I can't read your body language. I don't know if somebody wants to say something. So feel free, even if you feel like I'm in mid-sentence and you'd like to say something or ask something, please do unmute yourself and mention what your question or comment is. Or there's always a chat box. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat as well. Feel free to jot it down there as well. So we mentioned a workbook that we're uploading. This is one of the first pages of the workbook. And thank you, Khadija, for loading it through the Google Drive. So it's going to be just a spot for you, a safe space for your reflection and some of the activities we're going to be doing together. I do not expect to be talking for the whole 90 minutes, inshallah. I hope to hear from you and do a few exercises with you as well. And really, as we hunker down into the workshop, why am I here? Why did I choose to give my time to this workshop? And what is my purpose? What do I hope to take away from this? So inshallah, this workshop belongs to you, and we can do the most of our time together. So if anything kind of resonates with you, jot it down. Try to keep it practical. We'll be talking about many concepts. Some of them will feel more practical for you versus others. Write those down. And thank you, Malia. Welcome, Malia. Thank you for your introduction. Oh, and Khadija sent a link for the Google Drive. Okay, I see that Khadija sent a link. So while we're beginning, you can click on that link and download the PDF. And the PDF is your workbook. We've actually put together a workbook. Thank you to Muzammil, Hifza, and Samreen, who've helped put that together. So if you write things down, what happens? What happens is you're much more likely to remember it, and you're much more likely to use it. So we'll kick off with knowing. We have 5 components we'll go through today. The first one is, okay, how do I know what I'm feeling? And because we're trying to get to an inner peace, and inshallah that leads to outer peace, the stealer of our inner peace is stress. There's something that triggers it. You see on the left-hand side, we have a negative response to it. And then if we're able to understand it and we have our coping mechanisms, then we have a positive response and we're able to de-stress. So there's a distress and a eustress, which is a negative and a positive. And we're going to go through the details of each. On the left-hand side, you can probably identify with some of those negative reactions or responses that we feel inside us on a day-to-day, sometimes a moment-to-moment basis. And then we also have our eustresses, which are positive, and they help us to do better, whether it's doing better in our relationships or in our studies or with our family. There are 2 types of responses. There is the stress response, fight or flight, and there is a rest and digest. Those are the 2 types of responses we typically have. And many of the things perhaps that we talk about today, you're already aware of them. Maybe you're already doing them. Maybe the label is a little bit different. So as we're going through, think about, does this fall into fight or flight, or does this fall into rest and digest? So we're going to talk a little bit about some facts about our emotions. And stress is a response to our emotions. So we will be spending some time understanding the whole family of emotions, of which stress is one, or stress is also a response. So smiling actually makes us easier to remember. If you look at this picture, quickly scan it. There's probably 60 human faces in there. And you'll notice it's a little bit blurry, but you'll notice that some are smiling and some are not. When we try to remember the names of people we've met, if I want to be memorable, if you want to be memorable, smiling helps us be more memorable. And what did the Prophet ﷺ tell us about smiling? Kiran, thank you for your introduction. And if I'm asking a question, you're welcome to unmute yourself, or you can pop the answer in the chat. Does anyone remember what the Prophet ﷺ said about smiling? Yes, thank you. That was Kiran. Thank you, Kiran. It is a sunnah. Yes, absolutely. We actually get rewards in our book of deeds for smiling. It is considered a sadaqah. It is a sunnah. It is the way of the Prophet ﷺ. It is a sadaqah. It is considered charity. So considering this month of Ramadan and how much we're focusing on charity and giving, imagine just a smile to someone can change their whole day, maybe their whole week, and it will be written down for us as a sadaqah, as a charity. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for your messages. And our brain likes smiling people, and our brain makes more of an effort to remember those who are smiling. And we are 9.7 times more likely to be seen as a more warm and friendly person, more approachable when we're smiling. And it actually chemically changes our mood from the inside as well. There's a chemical interaction going on inside our body. And 1447 years ago, our Prophet ﷺ told us that as well. So charisma is the art of having presence and being memorable and having influence. It is a combination of warmth and being good at something. So when we smile, we've got 50% of this equation down to having more charisma, having more presence whenever we step into a room. So also when we smile, it increases the blood flow to our vein. It activates our entire nervous system, makes us feel great, and gives us more energy. And in a time when things seem kind of gloomy and doomy, it makes us feel actually a little bit more optimistic. What is it that I can do? What is it that I can do to change things? So, a little mini exercise here. Can you spot the differences in these two smiles? Are both of these pictures of someone who's smiling?
I think the picture
Yes.
on the left is
Yeah.
of someone who is not actually feeling the smile and they are just forcing the smile. However, the person on the right side is actually smiling from within.
Great, great. Thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Kiran. Any other observations?
I
Yeah.
think with the fake smile, the eyes are more open, and with the that natural smile, the eyes are like closed than the
Good
other one.
catch. Absolutely, absolutely. And what about here? I've highlighted in red, or the picture highlights in red what some of the changes are. So look at the smile on the left, smile on the right. You'll notice that the cheeks are raised on the left-hand side. The eyes are squinting because we're really happy. We're truly happy. We're smiling for a good reason. The skin underneath our lower eye wrinkles up. Fake smiles tend to be lopsided, asymmetrical, maybe higher on the left or higher on the right. They'll come and go quickly, and they tend not to engage the eyes. The eyes are kind of same open. They don't crinkle. You don't get the little crow's feet at the edges of your eyes. So this is a difference between a genuine smile and a fake smile. A genuine smile actually increases the chemicals, makes us feel happier. And a fake smile, our brain is like, what's going on? Am I smiling? Am I not? Am I happier? Am I not? So we don't want to confuse our brain either. Interesting fact number two is Gallup, that they do a lot of research. They asked 2 million people, are they happy at work or not? And what do you think? What was the number one reason that made them happy at work? What do you think? These are the four choices. Choice one is how much you're paid. Choice two is your work environment. Choice three is having a good friend. And choice four is your commute distance. So if you can pop in the chat what you think was the reason that people are happiest at work. What's the biggest contributor to being happy? And you can, yeah, go ahead, Sadaf. I see a few messages.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Good, good, good.
Sorry, I got a bit late. I've joined
Oh, no
late.
worries. No worries. I thought you were wanting to say something. That's why I called your name.
No, 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 it's okay. It's okay. I just joined it, so inshallah, I'll
Wonderful.
be there.
Welcome. 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 Good to see you here. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Number three, fairly predictable. So whether it's school or whether it's work, our satisfaction, our happiness, contentment goes up if we have a good friend in that environment with us. And if we're isolated, we actually our dopamine, our happiness levels diminish. So being isolated actually messes up with the chemicals in our brain. And so in COVID, when we were all by ourselves, And now in some countries, people are working from home, schools have gone online, work has gone online. We are in a form of isolation in many parts of the world. So that can really impact us, and we should recognize that. Another fun fact is, it's not so fun, but it is a fact, that one negative person can impact productivity of the entire group. Okay, this is research that Harvard did. And just one person who's not aligned with the group. So, for example, you have a project in school, you have a term end project, you have a final project, you're working with somebody or a community initiative for some kind of a sadaqah or charity. If there's one person who's not aligned with the rest, with the vision of what we're trying to do, that can impact everybody, the morale of everyone in that group. The negativity from one person causes a ripple effect. Whether we see it or not, it's palpable, it's touchable by our heart. And it
I have a
impacts.
question, Naveen.
Yeah, please.
So we are talking that a negative person in the whole group has such a great impact that they can impact the morale of whole of the group. So is the negativity more powerful or the positivity is more powerful?
That's a great question. Is negativity more powerful or positivity more powerful? I have some views on that. Did anybody else want to share their views? What do you think? Negativity or positivity? What do you think? While you're, and you can always mention in the chat, you might have heard the phrase, bad news travels faster than good news. So there are definitely views and opinions that say negativity can really slice through something. And years later, we might remember a negative comment much more so than a positive comment. Our scientists also show that there's something called the cracked tile syndrome. So when you walk into a beautiful structure, like a beautiful mosque, a beautiful museum, it's a beautiful place. And years and thousands of people have put in great efforts to build it. We walk in, maybe as a tourist, maybe we're passing by. We're like, oh, look, in that corner, there's a cracked tile. Like, we're not looking at the grandeur of the architecture and how beautiful the stones and the marble is. We're looking at that one cracked tile. So sometimes there's wiring, depending on how we've grown up, that we pick up negative things for. So negativity is powerful. Positivity is also powerful. They say, I can't remember who said this. If somebody remembers, please mention it in the chat. Years later, we won't remember the stats. We won't remember, 20 years ago, if I asked you who won the Olympics in, the women's swimming competition, you might not remember. But if you were in kindergarten 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, or more, and I ask you, do you remember the name of the teacher who you really liked to make you feel good? You'd remember her. So emotions, both negative and positive, are very strong. And I think we have to put in some effort into what we are grooming and what we are growing. And what our faith tells us is when we lean on the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ and the guidelines that have come in the Quran, that really gives us the positivity, can be very, very strong, very, very powerful. And the most powerful between these two, I'll kind of introduce a third element, is the niyyah, our intention. That truly is our superpower. So if we can ground ourselves in the right niyyah, that is the most powerful element that is fully within our control. Thank you for asking that question. So we really should be very careful of the company that we're keeping. I think one key takeaway of this fact is we should be careful about the company we are keeping. And some other research shows that we're the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So it's a kind of a check-in point for each one of us. Who are the people that I'm spending the most time with? And what energy are they bringing into my room, into my life? And many people are unaware of their power, the power that they have to infect others, like positivity or negativity. Another fact is that our emotions are contagious. When we catch them, how we can catch a bug or a virus from somebody, we can catch an emotion from others, and we actually copy it, we mimic it. As soon as we see an expression on somebody else's face, we mimic it. So if others in your house, in your home, in your virtual communities, in your schools are feeling tense and anxious, our brain picks that up and we mimic it. So this causes us to feel the other's emotions around us. So we can catch somebody else's mood within 5 minutes of interacting with them. It's like a virus. It's either a good one or a not so good one, like a bacteria. So like in our gut, in our bellies, we have good bacteria and bad bacteria. So inshallah, we're only bringing good vibes to each other. Did anyone have any thoughts or questions at this point? That's what the mic is for, picture of the mic. And if you're not in a place where you can unmute yourself, no worries. We always have the chat. So inshallah, whatever you're feeling, whether it's what's happening around you or something in your personal life or the political situation, or maybe it's exam time, or we can move from surviving to thriving. We can recharge our batteries. Even our phones and our laptops need to be recharged, and we need to be recharged. So once we can figure out what exactly is helpful to me to recharge, inshallah, we move from surviving, just surviving, to thriving. So as we're moving through our workshop today, think about the 3 elements that we're touching on. We're touching on thoughts and feelings, what's happening in our head and heart, inside, okay, internal. And then we're also talking about our bodies, movement, where we feel things, where we feel pain or stress. And then our behaviors. So bodies and behaviors, these are both internal and external. So we talked about the chemistry of happiness. So let's get our daily DOSE, our daily dose of happiness. Once we understand these chemicals better, these help us to navigate the anxiety and the stress that we might be feeling caused by the things happening around us. So what are the 4 chemicals? Dopamine. This is what enables us to be driven. I want to do this. I want to complete this assignment. I want to move ahead in my life. That's the D for dopamine. The O in the dose is oxytocin. This is what helps us feel trusted and trust others. And it helps us to kind of build good relationships. It's also called cuddle hormone or the love hormone. The S in the dose, DOSE, is a serotonin. This is a feeling important, that I'm important to my friends, I'm important to my family. And this is also about I am important to me. You know how when you're in a plane, what do they say when they're doing the safety announcements? Who are you supposed to put the oxygen mask on first? If there's an emergency, they say the oxygen mask is going to drop down in front of you. What do they say next? Who needs to put on the oxygen mask first? You can mention in the chat or unmute yourself.
Maybe you yourself.
Yes, exactly. That's what they say. Even if your baby, even if your child is with you, put your oxygen mask on first before you help somebody else, even your own child. And why is that? Because if we pass out from lack of oxygen, we can be of no help to anyone else. Thank you, Maliha. Thank you, Sadaf. Saw your message as well. Myself, absolutely. Yourself. Yes, thank you. So sometimes it's important to focus on our energy, what I'm feeling, explore ourselves first. So accepting ourselves. That's the S in dose, and the E, the last letter of dose, is endorphins. So the endorphins release a brief euphoria, which is like joy, happiness, excitement, to mask physical pain. That's what they say when we go to the gym. When we're going to the gym, when we're doing cardio, lifting weights, doing strength training, we're actually producing tiny, tiny tears in our muscles. And when we rebuild those, that's what strength training is doing. It also causes some physical pain for like a day or two or an hour or two, depending on our level of fitness, how fit we are. So again, this is a response to pain and stress. So DOSE, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. You don't have to memorize them, but we have to just understand how it's affecting us. If the D is low, the dopamine, it affects our self-esteem. We have mood swings. If the O is low, oxytocin, we feel lonely, stress. We can feel insomnia, we can't sleep. If the S is low, serotonin, again, it affects our self-esteem. We become overly sensitive. It's all about me. Like, I feel like people are pointing their fingers at me. I have a fear of meeting people. I feel hopelessness. And if the E is low, the endorphins, it's again a cause of sleeplessness, anxiety, depression, mood swings, and just doing like random impulsive things. So this is how a deficiency will affect you. Okay, now what? So what? Oh, that's the next step. How do we increase these? The so what is, okay, now that I understand this a little bit more and how dangerous it is to be low on them, what do I do? How can I increase it? So exercising regularly for the dopamine, writing, art, meditating. For the O, socializing, acupuncture, sometimes a cold shower, and again, meditating, very important. And there's lots of ways to meditate. And what a beautiful way to meditate is pick a name of Allah or just Allah. Focus on the alphabet of Allah. Think about that. Ground yourself in that. For serotonin, sunlight and exercise is very important. And for endorphins, dark chocolate, that they're what some people would consider very, very bitter, like 80, 90% dark, very dark. Dark chocolate, meditating, art, painting, laughing, even crying. These are what helps. So these are some things that we can do to increase our dose, DOSE, increase our dose of the happiness chemicals. There's actually chemicals that are regulating this in our brain. And these
Can
help
I
us to
ask
understand.
a question?
Yeah, of course.
So, as we are talking about different chemicals, like firstly, I would want to talk about the dopamine. So, normally in our lives, for instance, when we are very hurt, especially, we tend to go to unhealthy coping mechanisms that give us cheap dopamine. Can you touch on those points as well?
Yes, yes. Thank you. So, what is a very common thing that we do when we are feeling low, sad, disappointed, stressed? What's a very common go-to for many people? Maybe not for people here, but for many people. It's linked to our devices. What do we do? Doom.
Uh, can I doom scrolling?
Yeah, thank you, Ahmad. Absolutely. Doom scrolling. Absolutely. That's one common reaction. Doom scrolling. Shut out everything else. Just focus on let me scroll, 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 and that will make me feel better. That will make me feel better. And I think probably many of us have been in that spot, if not now, maybe some time back. And most of us realize at the end of the half hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, that do I feel any better? Maybe in that moment I did, but otherwise, no. And later on, we'll talk about one specific exercise. It's called 5-4-3-2-1. It really brings us back to get out of this mode that we're in, to get that cheap hit of dopamine. So the important thing to also remember about the DOSE is to get to be balanced in the 4 and to balance the 4 in order to have a sustainable level of contentment and happiness. There's also a lot of research that says chasing happiness is not the real thing. It's chasing contentment. What I have right now, wherever I am right now, do I have sakina? Do I have contentment or peace with what I have? And how can I navigate that? So there is a definite impact of our emotions on our body. Remember we said we showed you the triangle, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and body. So in the body, what do we feel? It could be a stiff neck. We could have digestive issues, an upset tummy. There's restlessness in our legs. Our hips become tight. We have difficulty breathing. Our heart pounds really fast, or our breathing becomes really shallow. We could feel lightheaded and headaches, clenching the jaw, making our face really tight. These are actual responses in our body, right? So if I say I have a headache, sometimes people understand that, or my knee hurts, people will get that. If I say, oh, I'm feeling anxious, sometimes people won't really understand what exactly that means to me. So we're here together to understand and develop an awareness of what it is that I'm thinking and what it is that I'm feeling. For those of you who joined a little bit later, please do click on the link in the chat. Khadija sent it a few minutes ago. That is your workbook for the session. It's a PDF that we created just for you. You can download it and you can write on it either on a hard copy or a soft copy. And I'm taking you through some of the pages of your workbook here as well. So in your workbook, which is in the Google Drive, you can click on that. We've talked about the STEPS framework, okay? The steps of success, of stress. Understand how it's impacting us. So what my body shows when it's stressed: a racing heart, sweaty palms, tight shoulders. So for each one of you, for me, it's going to be different. So the question I'm going to ask myself is, okay, where do I feel the stress in my body right now? For me, for example, my shoulders become hunched and tight. And sometimes, interestingly, my calf muscles behind my legs, they become like really, really tight. So think about where in your body you're storing your stress. The T in the STEPS model for stress is thoughts. Okay, my mind is racing. I'm focusing on the worst case scenario. I can't think. I can't focus on anything. I can't concentrate. So at this stage, journal, write something, draw something, marker, pen, paint, highlight. What's the story my mind is telling me right now? So let's walk through it. Sometimes you have to just talk out loud with yourself, or even if it's in your mind, think out loud, okay, what's the worst that can happen? If I don't do well on this exam, what's the worst that will happen? If I have to evacuate my building when I hear a siren, what's the worst that will happen? So sometimes even walking through what seems like a painful, very scary situation, sirens blaring, maybe there's a fire, maybe you can hear stuff at night with the bombing. What's the worst that will happen? Walk ourselves through that. E is for emotions. What am I actually feeling? And we'll talk about the Plutchik wheel in a moment. And naming those emotions, write it out. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling really happy. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling bored. I'm feeling excited to meet my friend after a long time. And then notice the patterns. Use your power of observation. We've talked about observation quite a bit already. Use your power of observation to see the change in behavior. So the page number here is the page number in your workbook that is in the Google Drive. And then the last S of the steps of stress is recognize when to breathe, when to ask for help, when to seek some support. So do dhikr, do extra salah, read, one line from the Quran, do some meditation, and understanding that stress is a normal reaction, noticing it and doing something about it is strength. So when you've downloaded your workbook, this is page number 5 in your workbook, you can jot down what your brain is doing, what's happening in your body, and then connecting all of that to faith. Faith is a fundamental. It's a foundation that everything else rests on. And then there's also mini exercise in there for you to point in your body. So if wherever you are, I know our cameras are not on, but if you can just touch your body, I'm touching my shoulder right now. Maybe give a slight squeeze to yourself, like a little massage, wherever you're feeling the pain. If it's your belly, you can do a circular motion on your belly. Think about it. Name one racing thought. for me before the workshop, my one racing thought was, oh my God, we didn't upload the PDF in the Google Drive. The world will come to a crashing halt. I'm just kidding. But name one racing thought and then jot down one emotion: happy, excited, pleased. I'm very pleased that I'm here with you. Notice the pattern and then pick one action for support. So I reached out to my sister Khadija to help me when I needed support to put this together. Shamila helped me in a lot of the content of emotional awareness. I reached out when I realized we don't have much time to put this all together. This was just a JIT. This was a just-in-time workshop when people reached out to us and said, hey, let's do something, because a lot of folks are, a lot of youth especially, are stressed out. So when I feel stressed, this is for you to fill in the blank in your workbook. When I feel stressed, what does my brain do? Here's how my body reacts. Here's how stress makes me feel spiritually and emotionally. You can also draw it out or doodle it out. Okay? So this was our first segment. Know how stress is affecting our brain, our body, and our faith. This is a little map of where we're going today in our 90-minute session. This is pretty informal, so people can drop in and drop off whenever you are comfortable. We did start a few minutes late, so we will be going over a few minutes late. But like I said, it's pretty flexible, so you can pop in and out however your schedule allows. So the second part of what we're going to discuss today, and we'll spend a fair bit of time here, is recognizing it, okay? So recognizing our emotions, and one particular thing we'll focus on is the Plutchik wheel. So what do you notice about this picture? And if you're in a place where you can unmute yourself, feel free to do that. And if there's noise in your background, don't worry about it. Or you can mention in the chat. What do you notice in this picture?
I think there are some boxes on the table and people are unwrapping that, maybe. And the other girls are seeing those
And what's the
boxes.
mood? What's the mood of this picture?
Everyone is just doing something.
Yeah, Samsung SM. Would you mind renaming yourself or just jotting down your name in the chat? Samsung says, busy people,
I need to
colorful
fix it.
buildings.
It's Shukriya Kiran here. Hello, Naveen.
Hello, Shukriya Samsung. There's 3 dots on the top left or right. You can click on that and change. It's called rename. You can rename yourself. So busy people, colorful buildings. Yeah, mostly females. Good observation. Yes. And the mood, like you notice in the picture over here, it says lively. This was a lively picture. What about here? What do you notice here?
Serene, calm, tranquil.
Yeah, thank you, Khadija. Calm, tranquil, absolutely. And what
A lot
strikes
of
you?
white color.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And what about this one? What do you notice? What's striking you in this picture?
Peaceful, like
It's peaceful.
peaceful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmad. Absolutely. The view, say Karen mentions the view. And what's on this side of the bridge? Closest to us.
Firstly, I love the view and I love the greenery out there in this picture.
See, even a picture can make us feel better. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. There's some garbage at the front, right? But because there's some garbage on the front of the bridge, but because the overall view is so pretty, it's light, it's green, it's tranquil, we didn't notice it. So emotions are a filter for everything that we think and everything that we do. So we have to notice, what is my filter? What is the color? Imagine if you have glasses on. If your glasses are those funky like yellow ones or pink ones, everything we see through the glass is pink or yellow. So our mood becomes a filter, not only for how we are understanding things, but also what we remember. And what is Mr. I used to call it a hippo, and then I was told it's not a hippo, it's a rhino. What is Mr. Rhino painting here? It could also be a Ms. Rhino. What is Rhino painting here? What do you
It
notice in
looked
all
like a
Uh,
mountain,
his
but not
his
a mountain.
own.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you, Kiran. Ahmad, you were also saying something?
Yeah, his own.
Yeah, exactly. He's painting his horn. Thank you, Maliha. And Miriam, I just saw your message. Sorry, I saw it a little bit late. Yes. Yes, he's painting. So whatever he paints, wherever he's looking to paint, what's in front of his eyes? His horn. And that's what appears, and that's how he sees the world. So our emotions are like that filter. That's how we're seeing the world. That's why it's very important to be aware, what is my filter today? And also when we're making decisions, emotions tell us what is important and what should we be tuned into. So emotions are messages from me to me, from Naveen to Naveen. So we need to be able to hear and understand those messages so that we can act on it properly. We need to, like Spotify says, we need to tune into ourselves. We need to tune into our emotions. And sometimes it can be crowded out by what? By watching too much on the news, by too much doom scrolling, by too much consumption of other things. What about me? What about my voice? Emotions are interpreting our world and telling us what to do next. Is something dangerous? Do I need to move away, for example? So emotions are our cues for how to respond and also how to behave. So, question for us, what if we ignore? What if we ignore our emotions or we don't recognize what we're feeling? So what? What does it matter? What happens if I ignore my emotions?
We feel unseen, unheard, and we feel miserable, to be honest.
Unseen, unheard, miserable. Thank you, Kiran. Others. And you can mention in the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat as well.
We
Stage.
became numb, I
Yes.
think.
Yes, we become numb. And when we numb, we're not just numbing the negative emotion like stress, pain, suffering, hatred. We're numbing everything. We're dialing down everything. We're dialing down our joy, our happiness, our contentment. And Sadaf, you could also start losing your memory as you're stuck. Absolutely. Thank you. Amelia mentions it includes every emotion. Absolutely. Right. So ignorance can be very, very costly. It can be very expensive to our health, mental health, emotional health, and very much our physical health. So with a rational mind, we make lists. I need to do this, tomorrow I need to do that. These are my deadlines, this is my exam work, schoolwork, homework. But our emotional brain is what's telling us from this list, this is the one thing that's really important to me. This is the one thing that's worth paying attention to. So we need to be in balance with both the rational side of ourselves as well as the emotional side of ourselves. And when we can harness that emotional energy, that's what truly drives us forward. And unprocessed emotions are hidden baggage. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Kiran. So we're going to spend a few moments on emotional literacy. And the tool we'll use for that is the Plutchik's wheel. You can go to a website. I forgot to write it on the slide. It's called 6seconds.org. That's where we took this from, 6seconds.org. And it's the number 6. The number 6, SECONDS. This is the Plutchik's feelings wheel. So it helps us to identify, it gives us the language, the vocabulary, what are basic emotions. And it divides the emotions into 8 basic categories: joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, disgust, anger, and anticipation. So think about the last time you felt butterflies in your tummy. What was that emotion? What was that emotion? Butterflies in my tummy. What's that emotion?
Nervousness, maybe?
Could be nervousness, yes.
Fear?
It could be fear. It could also be anticipation or excitement. Sometimes you say, oh, I had butterflies in my stomach when I was going for that interview at school or for a job. So opposites, the Plutchik wheel, if you'll notice, it's like 8 petals, and there are petals that are opposite to each other. So they're opposite because we have opposite responses in our body. So for example, the yellow is joy, the dark kind of blue is sadness. So joy is the opposite of sadness. So think about, when do you want to meet people? When do you feel like inviting people over? When you're sad or when you're happy? When you have joy or when you have sadness? And so that mentions one emotion is like regrets in our life. We get stuck with those regrets and we stop moving, and we have negativity in life. How to deal with that? Thank you, Sadaf. Yes. So inshallah, some of the tools that we talk about here help with that. There are some very specific things that we can do with our body, that we can do with our tongue, that help to then retrain our mind to move in another direction. We have to move our body sometimes. We have to move our tongue in a certain way in order to move our mind. And another tip for that is we talk to ourselves like we would talk to a younger person, a younger version of ourselves. If you have a younger brother or sister, no matter what your age is, think of someone who's, someone who's younger than us. We respect the emotion. Okay, I feel regret. Why do I feel regret? Now, what do I do about it? What can I do now? So we don't throw away that emotion. We welcome it. We say, yes, I see you regret. I hear you regret. And now this is what I want to do next. Can I put you down to sleep? Can I put you down to rest, regret, so that I can feel another emotion? So there's lots of little tips like that as well. And when I say move my tongue, there's tons and tons of research when we do dhikr, when we do adhkar, when we actually read and recite the Quran, that has a physiological effect on our bodies. And there's a Japanese scientist who took pictures of water crystals. Many of you may have heard it. I think his name was something Emoto. You can look it up online. And he said angry words to the water, and he took pictures of the water crystals, and then he said good words, and he said Quran, or he played the Quran, and the water crystals, the shape of the water crystals actually changed. So when we do dhikr, that actually changes physiologically how we're feeling as well. So we're talking about opposites. Thank you for that question. We're talking about opposites on the Plutchik wheel. So 2 opposites, again, is interest versus distraction. Examining closely, that's interest, versus jumping back and not caring, not being interested. Another opposite is disgust versus trust. If I put something in my mouth and tastes, ew, icky, what do I feel like doing? I feel like spitting it out, rejecting it, pushing things away. Versus when I meet an old friend who I really care for, I love them so much, what do I want to do? I want to embrace them, connect with them, catch up with them. So disgust and trust are also opposite. So if you think about it, which emotions from this wheel might lead to headaches, might lead to weight gain? And which emotions make us look forward to a picnic?
Sadness, because people, when they are sad, they tend to not move and then they gain the weight.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy, very good example. Thank you. Yes, sadness could, depression could, absolutely. And sometimes we were looking for comfort food, right? We're eating our emotions. So when we eat our emotions, that means we're not expressing our emotions, we're not processing our emotions. So that's where we're looking to eat our emotions, literally what people call comfort foods. And what emotion makes us look forward to a picnic? If you pick one of these words from the Plutchik wheel, acceptance, maybe I feel like I'm accepted in my family, in this group of friends. I'm looking forward to that picnic. Maybe I'm feeling joyful, and that's helping me look forward to it. So what emotion, so a quick little exercise that we'll do together. What emotion do you see in this picture? What's this picture? Just call out in the chat. I'll keep the chat open or your mics. We'll do this very quickly. What's the emotion in this picture? Top left.
Angry? Anger?
Angry. Yes, aggression, anger. Come here, say it to my face. Angry, aggression. What about this face? What is this saying? Maybe some of us, when we haven't had our coffee. Happy. Thank you, Shakira.
Disgust?
That was perfect. Yes, yes. Anger, frustration. What about this one?
Tiger in the worst form of anger.
Right, right. Right. So these are all kind of on one side of the wheel, right? Don't make me come over there. Frustration, fear, being chased. So when the feeling is exhibited, what does it look like, right? So in certain animals, they get bigger, they get louder, they start growling, they start puffing up, right? So anger has an impact on our body. We talked about the superpower of our niya in the beginning. Our intention is like our superpower. And there are two Arabic words here, mubah and mandub. So mubah is like a normal, everyday neutral thing, neither good or bad. And mandub is when it becomes rewarded. So the power that our niya, that our intention has, it can make ordinary, dull, boring things extraordinary. So for example, I make a niya that I am volunteering to teach somebody math in my class. I'm sharing my assignment, I'm sharing my knowledge because I want to help that person. So that becomes an act of akhlaq. Or I'm studying something about the Prophet's medicine. For example, I'm going to remind people in my family to have black seed, also called habisauda or kalonji, because that's really good for us. So I am applying my learning, I'm applying my knowledge to help others. I'm going to wake up early to help my mom in the kitchen, help my father do something outside. Our niya is what matters. I'm going to work, I'm going to school, I'm smiling at people. My niya makes the ordinary extraordinary. So we were talking about micro expressions earlier on as well. So when we are frowning, when we furrow our brows, our eyebrows together, this is an early sign of anger or frustration. I'm irritated with somebody. Okay. So annoyance, anger, rage. And by the way, you can take screenshots of anything that you like. I've given details on the next few slides, not for us to read through together, but for you to get a sense of what these things mean, okay? And what about anger? Underlying the anger are usually other feelings. And focusing on these other feelings can help to identify what's really going on here. Am I fearful about something? Am I afraid my family's going to leave me? Am I sad about something? I haven't met my friend in a long time. I'm hurting about something that happened yesterday or 2 days ago or even 2 years ago. I'm feeling shame about something that happened. So when there's anger, try to dig a little bit deeper and see if there's something else underneath that anger. Yeah, thank you, Karen. Absolutely. So what's the emotion here? Right? Our faces are very expressive. Our faces are like dictionaries. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So it could be boredom, disgust, or loathing. So if you look at the Plutchik wheel, it's shaded. The darkest colors are the most intense form of that feeling. So what starts out at boredom becomes disgust, and disgust, when it's intensified, becomes hateful or loathing. Okay. In the PDF, if you've not downloaded it, please download it. It's in the Google link in the Zoom chat over here. We've created a workbook for you. So this is page number 8 in your workbook. This is what helps us to recognize power, of what we're going through. So make a checklist. Am I feeling irritable? And this could just be in your head, right? Go through in your mind. Am I feeling tired, restless? What thoughts are going through my mind? And then think about the weather. Name the weather. And there's another tool that's called Name It to Tame It. We'll talk about that as well. You can also name the weather. So an example is, my mind feels like a foggy morning, but my heart feels like a calm river. You know, my mind feels like loud thunder, but my heart feels like a cool breeze. Maybe your mind and heart both are feeling the same thing or the opposite things. So you can use the weather, and remember that emotions are not our identity. That's not who we are. It's what we're feeling. So it's like weather, it's never the same. It changes. Our emotions change. And that should also give us some hope, inshallah. The PDF link, could you send it again? Sure. Khadija, if you're online, are you able to send it again? If you scroll up, Ahmad, all the way up, you should be able to see it.
Sure.
It was sent at 4:16. So what's the emotion here? Surprise, maybe, right? And if it became more extreme, it's amazement. What's the emotion here?
Happy.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Love, happiness, acceptance, trust, serenity, joy, could be any one of these, right? So again, the lighter color is a light version of the emotion, and the darker color is the more intense version of the same emotion. And what's the emotion here?
Surprise.
Yeah, or a surprise. It could be fear. And the most intense version of fear is terror, terrorizing somebody. And we will talk about this in one of our other modules as well. But when we're feeling some of these feelings, too much surprise, fear, anxiety, terror, the one thing that can really calm our hearts down is the remembrance of the Creator. We are the creation. Remembering the Creator can calm us down. Allah. And there's actually quite a bit of research that says that that word alone has a physiological effect on our mind and in our bodies as well. La ilaha illallah, Ya Wadud, Ya Rauf, Ya Latif, Ya Salam. These are specific words that were taught to us by the Prophet ﷺ that help us feel calmer. And what's the emotion here? What's happening with the yes? What's happening with the eyebrows? Right? If our lids are looking down, if we're losing focus in the eyes, that could be a sign of sadness. So pensiveness, before sadness is being pensive, thinking about things. And the extreme version of that is grief. A lot of sadness or intense sadness becomes grief. And what's the emotion here?
Joy, love.
Yeah, acceptance, joy, love. Thank you. Or being interested, being interested in something. So emotions, just like, a volume button on our phone or a dial button on a stereo system, can be dialed up or dialed down, moved up and moved down, escalate, de-escalate. As we move towards the center, the color deepens and that emotion is intensifying. And when you go to the website 6seconds.org, it's very interactive. It will tell you what it looks and feels like for each stage of this emotion. And when we're feeling anger or rage, this is again a surah, very short one. When you recite this has a very calming effect. So I had reached out to one of my mentors who is also very learned in the faith. And this is one particular surah that she said has a very calming effect when we are stressed out, when we are anxious, when we are afraid. So an important rule in our relationships, if it is left unchecked, emotions will intensify, right? So we don't want negative emotions to intensify. So But positive emotions, yes, for the most part, we want positive emotions to intensify. So when we feel accepted, that leads to belonging, and belonging leads to feeling trust with my teacher, with my parent, with my colleagues, with my family. And when we have intense emotions, we tend to notice the loudest emotion first. But remember that our emotions are very complex. It's not like a little black box, one emotion at a time. Our emotions are blended like paint, and we could be feeling many things at one time. So, the more aware we are of each individual emotion, the more we can say, oh, yes, blue plus yellow equals green. The more literate, the more knowledgeable I become about my emotions, I will understand how I'm feeling. So I could be feeling a little bit of sadness, and I could be feeling anger because I didn't get that thing that I really wanted. So a little bit of sadness and a little bit of anger could equal disappointment. So there's the Plutchik wheel. When you go online, you'll find tons of other, tools to help you name your emotion. And the more we can name it, the more attuned, more tuned in we become to ourselves, and more control we have over how we're navigating our relationships and the world around us. So a quick exercise, if you look at the DP on any of your social media or on your WhatsApp, look at your DP, your profile picture. What does it say? What does your expression say? We've talked about a lot of emotions. We've talked about some micro expressions on our face. Look at the micro expressions on the face in your DP and tell us, what does it say? If you have a picture of yourself, or you can take a look at a picture of one of your family members, and what does that picture say to you? There are more than 3,000 words for feelings in the English language, and this vocabulary is very important. Those 3,000 words are very important. And if you go to Arabic, because Arabic is much more deep and much more rich, the 3,000 in English will probably be like 20,000 in Arabic. I don't know exactly. I'm guessing, but knowing like the word for love in Arabic, I think there's 200 words just alone for love in Arabic. So, and in many of our other languages, we have a lot of vocabulary for emotions. So let's use it, because being able to name it helps us to navigate and manage things. Name it to tame it. Once I have named it, I have better access to manage how I'm moving in my relationships. So naming what we're feeling can immediately disengage the amygdala. The amygdala is one part of the brain. It's called the amygdala hijack. Sometimes we can become hijacked by a particular flight or fight syndrome, a particular fight or flight emotion. And when we name it, oh, I'm feeling angry right now, or this person is really making me feel enraged, or this traffic is making me feel so frustrated, or not being able to go out of my home, not being able to go to my school is making me feel really sad. And I'm afraid, when will I be able to see my friends again? So naming it immediately puts the amygdala, that part of our brain, to rest. And as our language activity goes up, when I talk about my emotion, even inside myself or with a friend or family member, the reactivity, the explosiveness of that goes down. So it was actually the neuroscientist Dan Siegel who said, name it to tame it. So remember, we talked about mirroring our emotions in the beginning. So each one of us also has a responsibility. What am I displaying to my friends and family around me? That doesn't mean we mask or hide, but just to be conscious, and also not to take on. Don't live in osmosis. Be conscious of what I'm taking on. Be conscious of what I am mirroring. And if we don't want to be downed by others' moods, recognize the cues, the micro expressions on their face, the tone of their voice, recognize that. And we'll do a simple activity, and I'd like you to do that in the chat if you're in a place where you can chat on your phone. So research shows that we have 17 seconds to stop complaining, or if there's a negative thought pattern and you want to stop it, 17 seconds. So we'll time ourselves. So it could even be about me, right? Let's do it actually. Let's do it for somebody else first. Okay. In your mind, pick somebody, pick a parent, pick a sibling, pick a friend, pick a teacher, a schoolmate, a colleague. Pick that person. Does everybody have a person in your mind? We'll do this together. And please type in it together. Type in the chat. Okay. You've thought of that person. Now, think about something that bugs you about that person, or it's negative. And now counter that with 5 positive things. Okay. 5 things in the chat about this person. Oh, I don't see any messages. For example, well, this person helped me with my homework. They look really good in blue. Their smile is so pretty. They always encourage me. They paint really well. They cook really well. Right, there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Hannah. Always cooks good food. Yes, I know who you're talking about. So this is a very simple tool that every time something negative about someone comes up, including ourselves, counter that very quickly with 5 positive things. Could be totally random, could be totally silly, but it has to be positive. You know, they're great at cracking jokes. They're good at mopping up the floor. They always pick up their plate. Their hair looks nice. Even when they're sad, they come and give me a hug. You know, anything. Okay, so Kiran, I like your example also. The one negative thing was criticism, and the 5 positive things were helpful, caring, resourceful, warm food, hug. Ahmad, you mentioned that the person you thought of is a visionary. Yes. And Maliha, she's always by my side. She takes care of me. She gives me motivation every single time. Whenever I want to give up, great. So this is a very simple tool. It rewires the brain. It also, what does it tell the brain? This is a lot of hard work. Hannah, she's a good driver. Thank you. Yes, good, good. So think about 5 things. And the trick is, and if you come up with another negative thing about this person, you have to come up with another 5 things. And they can't be the same as the first 5. So this is called rewiring the brain, retraining the brain. Because the brain is like, oh my gosh, this is such hard work. I have to think of 5 things versus 1 negative. So it helps us to retrain. And you're not making these up. You cannot manufacture this. This is not fake news about the person. These are real good things about them. And like I said, it could be tiny little things, but they have to be positive. So your brain quickly learns then it's going to be a lot of work. If I think of something negative about this person, I'm going to have to think of 5 positive things. That's a lot of work. So let's not think about the negative as much. It trains us to look for the positive. And so simply identifying will help us think rationally about these things, and it helps to control the amygdala hijack. Okay, saying these things out loud helps us know how others feel. Okay, so one way, another simple tool, and again, you can take a screenshot if you like, how they feel. What about do they feel this and why? So when somebody is acting out, maybe it's anger, maybe it's frustration, maybe they're upset about something. So you say, okay, you identify how they're feeling, what's this emotion? You identify what it's about, what thing caused them to feel this emotion, and why. Why did that event cause that emotion? So, for example, you could say, oh, I can tell you're frustrated. You're naming the emotion. When I was playing, when you called, I realized you wanted a quick answer from me about what I wanted for futur, what I wanted for iftar. So you recognize the emotion, What caused that emotion? What do you really want? You were angry because I didn't respond to you. You just wanted a quick answer. Okay? And there's no like but or defensiveness. You just acknowledge what they're feeling. So again, this is a quick tool. How they're feeling. I think I can tell you're angry. I can tell you're sad about your uncle passing away, about your grandfather passing away last week. I realize that you miss him. I realize that you miss him at Futur, at Iftar. So it's a very easy way to structure our dialogue with somebody to make them feel heard, to make them feel seen and validated. How, about what, and why. Simple tool for you. So emotions, we spend quite a bit of time on them, are signals to us about what really matters. It's important. Emotions tell us what is important. So our brain is making these to-do lists of what we need to do. Our emotions are telling us from this list, this is what I'm going to work on. And you'll notice that about yourself as well. And some of us are aware, some of us are not aware. But what pulls our attention is what we feel about something. Either we feel fearful that I'm going to fail if I don't do that, or I feel joy, oh my gosh, I love math, or I love art, or whatever my favorite subject is. So emotions tell us this is important, therefore I'll pay attention to it. We talked about numbing in the beginning when we dial down and we don't feel our emotions. When we numb one feeling, we're actually numbing them all the good ones also. We can't selectively numb our emotions. We also numb the positive ones if we dial down the pain, the disappointment, the anger, the sadness. We're also dialing down everything else. So what are the symptoms? If you are dialing down the numbness, dialing down the emotions, what are the symptoms? Things that you used to enjoy, all of a sudden, like you're not interested in them anymore. You're not feeling attached to people. You can't understand what you're feeling. Everything just feels bleh, meh, flat. And you just don't want to participate in things. And you begin to prefer isolation versus being with others. So if we turn down the volume on our feelings, we're turning down the message from me to me. This is what's important to me. This is what is significant to me. So, inshallah, we can all engage with the world and move forward to create our today and create our tomorrow, something that we really want. It's a more vibrant way to live our lives. And just like the rose that you see in this picture, every rose has a thorn or many thorns. That doesn't mean we stop enjoying the roses because we're afraid of the thorns. So it's a reminder not to numb our emotions. So this was a wrap up on our section 2, which is recognizing it. These are the biggest chunks of our workshop today because that's the foundation. And then once you understand the importance of that, the practice and the elevating and the sustaining become very, very easy. So that's why we spent more time on segment 1 and 2. And one of the tools that we will practice, that our next segment is practice. We'll do 3 or 4 things together. So breathing is very important in calming ourselves down and feeling grounded. There's lots of breathing techniques that you can find online as well. I am also a certified yoga instructor. So one of the ones that I really liked was the simple 4-4-4. Inhale for 4, hold your breath for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4. And unless you have a medical reason, you should really be breathing through the nose and breathing out through the inhale, exhale through the nose, not through the mouth. And you can also place one hand on your heart. I'm tapping it quite loudly so you can hear it. You can tap it gently while you're breathing. That also soothes and calms down. So let's do that together. We'll do 3 rounds. Inhale, hold, exhale. Inhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. So 4, 4, 4. Oh, I forgot to tap my hand. But if you can tap over your heart, on your shoulders, even your forehead, tapping can also calm us down. Okay? So you can sit comfortably. This is not the breath reset. This is the planting a tree. So if you're sitting down, plant your feet firmly, not on your tippy toes, not on your heels, the full foot flat on the floor. Notice the pressure. Notice the temperature. Are you on a marble? Are you on a carpet? Are you on wood? Are you on ground? Notice the temperature. Connect to the floor. And then really imagine your feet as roots or ship anchors or mountains. What happened to the mountain? There's storms all around the mountain. The mountain doesn't break down. The mountain doesn't move. Or maybe a big rock or a big boulder. So really ground yourself to the floor. You're rooted, you're a mountain, you're a big rock by the river. And take slow breaths, the 4-4-4, while you're focusing on this feeling of being rooted and grounded and present in the now. In the invitation for today, we had also mentioned you can bring an object with you, okay? It could be a stress ball, it could be a favorite pen, it could be a toy, it could be a fidget thingamajiggum. Hold it. Notice it. Really turn on your powers of observation on full blast. How heavy is this? Is it a smooth texture? Is it prickly? Is it one of those prickly balls? Is it cool to my touch? Is it already hot and sweaty? How does it feel? And why is this important? When our sensory input changes, when we're focused on what we're holding, it calms us down. Let this ball, pen, fidget toy remind me that steadfastness is something I can hold on to. And the fourth thing that I mentioned was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding scan. There's lots of different versions of it. This is, again, when we talk about regret, like some of you ask questions, something happened a long time ago or some time back. How do I come back from that? So again, 5, 4, if I'm feeling really worked up, very anxious, stressed out, I'm hearing things around me I don't want to hear. Loud noises, planes, bombings, I don't want to hear that. Focus on something else. 5 things I can see. I can see a table, chair, a rug, floor, phone, laptop, my finger, my toes, my shirt, my pants. 5 things. 4 things I can touch right now. Okay, I can touch my phone, my laptop, my hair, my nose, my heel. 3 things I can hear. I can hear my voice. I can hear the whirring of my laptop. I can hear a fridge or a fan or some kind of noise outside. I can hear somebody talking. 2 things I love. I love Ramadan. I love my parents. I love my family and friends. 1 thing I'm grateful for. I am grateful that we're in this space together. I'm grateful for the ability to fast and connect with Allah. I'm grateful to be able to do this workshop. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It rushes you. It quickly refocuses you on something tangible, something more positive. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you think about this? I'm just seeing, sorry, go ahead.
A healthy distraction.
Oh, good. Yes. Yes, compared to like doom scrolling or other things we do to distract ourselves, this is something that we're making up for ourselves in the moment that hopefully, inshallah, works for us. And I'm just seeing a few messages that I missed. Mahnur mentioned learning from my mistakes. I think we were talking about 1 negative, 5 positives, the 1-5 tool, 1 negative, 1 positive, 5 positives. And Khadija mentioned 1 negative, and the 5 positives were thoughtful, steadfast, loves to give gifts, has a lot of space in her heart for love, and is organized. Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So this is another exercise, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then elevate it. So elevate what we're feeling. And one of the best ways to elevate and remain in that elevated place where think about a mountaintop. It's very quiet at a mountaintop. When you elevate to the top of the mountain, it's quiet. You can see so many things. So many things make sense to you, how the river runs, where that community sits, where the highway is, where the streams are, where the forest is. You can see things. It's quiet, it's calm. So at the top of this mountain, we're at a guest house. We're acknowledging our feelings, we're honoring them, and the ones that we don't want to hold on to, we can let them go. And when we're at the top of the mountain, we can be more mindful. Eat more mindfully. Eat for color, for shape, for texture. Taste every bite. Savor every bite. Don't just gobble it down, because you're stressed about something. Your mind is also be present in the moment when we're eating. And a very good way to elevate and stay at the top of the mountain, take us to the top of the mountain and stay at that top of that quiet, peaceful, relaxing mountain is our dhikr and reflection anchors. So inhale quietly. You can use the 4-4-4. You can repeat the dhikr on the exhale. And the word Allah, by the way, is excellent for meditation. Inhale on the Allah. Exhale on the la. Allah. Allah. So when you get into a rhythm of that, that's very soothing, calming, and it helps in your meditation as well. And you can continue this for however long you want. 10 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, whatever you want to do. Pick a simple, calming phrase, make it your own, and feel the connection to it. La ilaha illallah, ya wadud, ya ra'uf, ya latif, ya salam. Repeat it silently, or if you're in a quiet space and you want to say it out aloud, when we hear our own voice, sometimes that can be calming as well. Focus on meaning and focus on being calm. And then I had shared with you earlier, and I've given a screenshot as well, Surah Alam Nashrah Laka Sadrak. That also has a very calming effect physiologically on us. So in your workbook, that is in the Google Drive, for you to access, you can jot down what are 1 or 2 of your anchor phrases that you want to use. When I say this, I notice that my heart rate slows down. I notice my eyes become more open, like, sometimes your pupils dilate. I notice that I'm not fidgeting anymore. I notice that my tone of voice becomes calmer. I notice that I'm talking more slowly. I notice that my finger is not tapping the edge of my chair. And I can use this anchor in my daily routine by doing this when I'm brushing my teeth, by saying this before I start my homework, when I sit down to have my suhoor, for my futur. And then notice how it's changing your breathing and your thoughts, and you can jot it down in your workbook as well. And then the last segment for today is sustain it. Your personal steadfastness plan. This is also in your workbook. So have a very simple plan, because when we're in that heat of that stress, of that anxiety, we're not going to remember 10 things. We'll probably remember 3 things, or maybe only 2 or 1. So choose wisely, and I would say no more than 3. Make an amazing plan that's simple for you and that works for you. When I feel overwhelmed, I will, for example, pause, and I will take 3 anchor breaths. My 4-4-4, I will take 3 anchor breaths. 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 4-second exhale. I will do my 5-4-3-2-1. I will notice 5 things around me, and I'll think about 2 things that I love. Maybe I won't have the chance to do all of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but I'll do these 2 things. And I will reconnect with the divine, with Allah. I will maybe do 2 rakah salah. I will say Allah, Allah, La ilaha illallah. I will read Alam Nashrah Laka Sadrak. I'll message someone, I'll call that person, I'll write or I'll draw. So you make your plan. Think about what is a stress trigger for you. When I hear this noise outside, when I hear a plane going overhead, when I know that my exam is 2 days away or it's tomorrow morning, when I see my mom or dad or my sibling become really worked up or upset. So what's the trigger for me? What tool will I practice? When or how will I use it? And observe how you're doing with the tool. Reflect on it. So I would say pick one tool you will commit to practicing this week, and who or what helps you regain that steadfastness. So, alhamdulillah, we have come to the end of our session. We did try to stick very close to our 90 minutes. We started about 7 minutes late, so we're ending about 7 minutes late. But if anybody would like to share one word to describe how you feel now, and one niyyah or intention or purpose you have going forward, we would love to hear from you. And you can unmute yourself, or you can mention it in the chat. Kiran mentions she's feeling grateful. That's your one word. Maliha mentions blessed. I am feeling content. Hannah is feeling gratitude. Kiran is mentioning her niyyah, and the purpose is to slow down and be mindful of my emotions. Thank you for mentioning your purpose and your niyyah, Kiran. Maliha mentions she's gonna, oh, I miss you too, Maliha. Thank you for your message. Okay, so, there's maybe what was once our weakness will become our strength. Our articulation, the ways that we connect with Allah, with ourselves, with those around us. Inshallah, all of these connections, the connection with the divine, with the creator, the connection with his creation, these all, inshallah, can help us feel more grounded, more secure, and more calm, and bring more peace in our life. Malia mentions your voice is a therapy. Oh, that is so sweet, Malia. Jazakallah. You guys are all my therapy. Thank you for being here. So thank you. You all have my number, I think. Fiona wasn't able to message you today, so you have received invites from me. If you have any questions, any follow-ups, you could message both Fiona or me, and we're happy to take those. There will be a part 2, potentially. If you are interested in a part 2 of the series, mention in the chat or message me, and inshallah, we'll keep you posted if we do a part 2 next week. All right. Jazakallah khair, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. And I wish you a lot of peace and calm and stress-free remainder of Ramadan. It's a beautiful time to really focus on our inner selves and our inner connection with Allah. So hopefully we can make space and time more and more in the last few days in Ramadan. Take care. Thank you, Kiran. Very much interested. Thank you for that message. Thank you, and you as well. And we have a recording.